Everyone, so this is the summary of the poem The Thought Fox by Ted Hughes. So these are the important points. The poem was published in the poet's collection The Hawk in the Rain in 1957. The main theme of the poem is the process of writing poetry through creativity and inspiration. Here the inspiration to write poetry comes to the poet in the form of a fox. The poet imagines himself to be in a forest watching the movements of a fox whom he calls the muse of his poetry. For the struggling poet, the idea to write a poem comes in the form of a fox emerging from the darkness of the depths of his imagination. So this is the text of the poem. I imagine this midnight moment's forest, something else is alive, beside the clock's loneliness and this blank page where my fingers move. Through the window I see no star, something more near, though deeper within darkness is entering the loneliness. So when the poem opens, the speaker imagines himself to be sitting alone in midnight in the forest, although he is sitting on his chair in his room in reality. The speaker is struggling to write poetry. In the silence of the night, he can hear the ticking sound of the clock and the blank paper in front of him. He feels that something else is also alive apart from him. Next, the speaker is looking out of the window and he can't even see the stars in the darkness of the night. But he feels that something is coming towards his isolated place. Cold delicately as the dark snow, a fox's nose touches twig leaf. Two eyes serve a moment that now and again, now and now and now, sets neat prints into the snow between trees, and verily a lame shadow lags by stump and in hollow of a body that is bold to come. So in these lines, speaker notices a fox whose cold delicate nose touches the twigs and the leaves. Then the two eyes of the fox also get visible to the speaker. The fox's eyes are checking the surroundings. With the slow movements, the fox is approaching the speaker. The fox is leaving its print in the white snow. These prints symbolize the words with which the poet is going to write poetry. The fox moves carefully through the clearing of the forest with its shadow following like a lame animal. Across clearings an eye, a widening deepening greenness, brilliantly concentratedly coming about its own business, till with a sudden sharp hot stink of fox, it enters the dark hole of the head. The window is starless still. The clock ticks. The page is printed. So in these lines, speaker says that the fox is now near the poet and the poet can see its wide green eyes concentrating on what is next. The fox enters into the darkness of the poet's mind in the form of a creative thought. And now poet is able to write his poem although his surroundings remain the same. The clock is still ticking and he can't see any stars outside of his window. And here the poem ends.